Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and disastrous leak from Theros Beyond Death. I think this is extensive enough that this was not orchestrated by Wizards. You never know. I mean, they've been suspected of, faking leaks before, but in this one, it's so outrageous, but it's also such a big reveal. I don't know. We're also pretty darn far away from the release, but not that far, so I don't know. I'm a little suspicious of this, but ooh, this is a doozy. So let's just jump right into it. The Akroan War. And as you can see, sagas are back. And also, as you can see, this is an actual cell phone shot of an actual paper card. Okay? Who the hell outside of Wizards has these right now? And why? I mean, call me crazy, Wizards, but if you want, every single set to not get leaked like they always do, maybe don't send people cards like a month or two ahead of time. Don't send them physical paper cards because, there's this wonderful thing called cell phone cameras. Anyway, long story short, Wizards are dumbasses and every other set gets leaked. So if you're not familiar, that's the short version. So let's move into what this is. I wanted to lead with my absolute favorite out of this set. Just giving you fair warning to go play a different game now and just save yourself the time. So the Akroan War, 4-cost saga, not legendary for knows what reason. So number 1, gain control of target creature for as long as the Akroan War remains on the battlefield. So it is a 3-turn act of treason. You steal their biggest, baddest creature, and you get to keep it for 3 turns. Now, note, it doesn't gain haste, but also note, it doesn't matter. That's insane. Then, number 2, it gets worse. Until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able. So they are now forced to swing into the creature that you just stole, which is also theirs. So you get their whole entire line killed, but you get to keep their biggest creature. That definitely won't instantly end the game. Then, for number 3, each tapped creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. So whatever you just stole, you're going to swing away and probably get it killed just by swinging away with it. Depends what its stats are, but, maybe. Oh, and then they're not allowed to swing at you to end the game, even if they have like an army of lifelinkers, what would ever normally shut down red. So you go from mandatory swing to they can't swing, and then you probably get whatever you just stole killed after hitting them with it twice. This is a little much for 4 mana, a little bit. So we're 1 card in, and I already hate this set. So let's burn through the rest. So Delle, Crafter of Wonders, oh boy, 2/4, Merfolk, Artificer, cool. You can tap him. Oh, he is legendary, by the way. No need to be. At all. So you tap them and add 2 colorless. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts, which I believe includes equip abilities. And then equipped creatures you control have flying and haste, so that ain't no joke. But yeah, I felt like they set us up for an artifact synergy deck, but then they only gave us like half of it because it's total garbage right now, even with Steel Overseer. So this might be the other half of it, but it does reference equipment. So, and it is 2 color, which I thought was really weird. So I don't know, this might be the other half of the artifact deck that everybody's been waiting for, because they set up some powerful stuff in Throne of Eldraine, and then it went nowhere. It's not even a vaguely competitive deck. So if you want to, look through whatever's legal right now in the Mythic and Rare slot and find anything that interacts heavily with artifacts and buy them all up for a quarter right now, you do you. Just saying. Next up, Labyrinth of Scophos, which is unfortunately not Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. So this is just Toxic AIDS, Ebola, Cancer, in land form, so it comes in untapped, taps for color is cool, and if you pay 4, which okay is a little steep but still, remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. Well, that's annoying. It's an overpriced pin down effect. You gotta pay for it every damn turn, but you can move the target. So it's no martial law, but then again, are they gonna blow up a land? No. So basically, you play this, one of your opponent's creatures is gone forever. I mean, you guys know this is gonna be played in an absolute 3-color pin down control-a-thon deck from hell, right? I mean, we're all on the same page here. Yeah, this won't be fun. I want to swing with my biggest creature, and this isn't gonna let me, so screw this card. By the way, removing something from combat can do all kinds of tricks, but I'm not going to go into it. So, Ashiok's Erasure, finally a good card. It's a 4-cost enchantment that has flash, so that's kind of cool, double blue. And when it enters the battlefield, exile target spell. So if the spell says this spell cannot be countered, you're not countering it. You're moving it from the stack zone, I assume that's a thing, to the exile zone. And then it just so happens to be countered by rule. But then it gets better. Your opponents can't cast spells with the same name as the exiled card, which is hilarious. And then whenever Ashiok's Erasure leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to its owner's hand. So I almost wish that it said when you cast this, exile target spell. Because otherwise, if somebody counterspells this, you get nothing. Nothing happens whatsoever. And I think for 4 mana, something should happen. I mean, exile it and then immediately give them their spell back to hand. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But whatever, minor complaint, we need name jamming effects. There are too many decks that use 1 card to win. Next up, Treacherous Blessing. Apparently Phoenix is at it again. Don't know who that is, don't know shit about the lore, but I do know that that's Michael Jackson. So you pay 3, it's a 3-cost black enchantment, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw 3 cards. You know, because that's not completely batshit crazy, but hilariously, whenever you cast a spell, you lose 1 life. So, ouch. And then whenever Treacherous Blessing becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. Well, good luck with that. Most spells or abilities target creatures. So I don't know how you'd pull that off, but I mean, there's probably something that you could do to then get rid of this, because once it's one and done, you want it gone. Too bad it's not an aura that enchants a player, because that would actually be kind of funny. But okay, once again, we're all on the same page here, right? This is going in a black, white, blue deck that will just not give a flying f*** if it loses 1 life every time that it casts a spell. It just wants the 3 cards for 3, which is broken bullshit. I mean, guys, we've seen this before with overpowered like Teferi loop decks, Nexus, and all that stuff. We've seen a spell with an amazing effect and then a huge downside where the deck is just so perfect and so do-it-all, answer everything that it just plays right through it like it's not even there. It doesn't care about the downside at all. I think that's what this is going to go into. So I really don't like this card. Next up, a corner of a card that says 5/6. Fantastic. Now, I just am too lazy to edit all these. So, Phalanx Tactics. Cool. So, it's an instant 2-cost. Target creature you control gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Each other creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Oh, is that going to put Selesnya over the tipping point finally? Are we finally going to see that guild come back? No. Time Wipe and Kaya's Wrath. And which is whatever, Brew or I don't know. Which is something. Wrath? I don't know. The -3 sweeper. Yeah, no, never going to happen. But I will say this is such a 3-cost card, but it costs 2. So, I mean, I'd play it. I'd probably put it in my ambush deck. In fact, this is almost definitely going in the Candy Cane deck. Then we got Banishing Light. It's finally back. Yes, I want to hug this card. So when it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. Cost 3. You can target anything but a land. After a convocable 4-cost and then a target-specific 3-cost, I just wanted my Banishing Light back, okay? You know, a lot of shit in Standard needs to go, and this card is going to send it there. I'm just saying. Next up, Illyrios Enraptured. Oh, that artwork. Come on. You have to get that reference. Different name, but you got to get the reference. Anyway, 3-cost legendary creature. Oh, they are willing to put legendary on something. I never would have thought. Human, which that's dangerous. And it enters battlefield tapped. It does an untap during your untap step if you control a reflection. Oh, I can only imagine what fresh hell that is. And then when it enters the battlefield, create a 3/2 blue reflection creature token. It doesn't say with, so I think that's just, there's not going to be a big mechanic called reflections. I think that's just specific to this. So, congratulations. All of your shape-shifting changelings are now also reflections. So he's a 2/3, but you can just fight with the 3/2. So, like, you get 2 creatures for 3 mana. You just can't use them both at the same time. That's kind of interesting. I kind of like that. I don't think I remember any cards being even similar to that. So that's wild that they keep coming up with new stuff, and that's actually pretty fair. See, they are capable of printing good cards occasionally. Interesting, good, fun cards where you're like, oh, I wonder if I could do something with that in a deck. Creature ETB, maybe. Artificial Untap deck, maybe. Human Synergy, maybe. Black-blue creature Death Trigger deck, maybe. So next up, I already read ahead on this one, absolutely lost my shit, just about broke the mic, and now I'm recording it for the 3rd time. Threnody Singer, 2-cost, Flash Flying Siren, who cares? When it enters battlefield, some shit happens, who cares? Your Devotion to Blue! Devotion's back! There was literally no reason to travel back to that backwater ass crack of the multiverse called Theros unless we're going to pick up Devotion again. Here it is, play mono, take your 3-color deck and shove it up your ass. I'm going to play mono, I'm going to crush you with it. If it's doable, if they actually make this doable, I am building all 5 mono decks. 5 Devotion decks, and I'm going to kick everybody in the nuts with them. Hell yeah, Devotion is my shit. That said, this card is pretty shit, honestly. Watch this be the only Devotion card. Next up, Madomai's Prophecy. So we've got a 4-part saga. That's pretty wild. So first one, Scry 2. Okay, nice little 2-drop. Then number 2, choose a card name. And then nothing else happens. Really felt like making this 4? Really? Seems like you just kind of needlessly slowed it down a bit, but then again, it costs 2. So, number 3, when you cast a spell with the chosen name for the first time this turn, draw 2 cards. Boy, you waited a long time for that. And then number 4, look at the top card of each player's library. Wow, this card is garbage. I mean, it's like, yeah, ooh, you get to scry 2, then draw 2 for 2 mana. It takes 3 turns. And you have to cast a spell that you named, which means it has to be relevant, and then you're telling them 1 turn ahead of time that you're going to cast it and what it is. I mean, in the right deck, this would be very powerful, but this is just not good on the face. Next up, Underworld Dreams. It's a triple black enchantment. That looks pretty tasty. And whenever an opponent draws a card, Underworld Dreams deals 3 damage to that player. Just kidding. They didn't actually make the damage match the casting cost. That would be insane. So that's just big ol' Ob Nixilis effect right there. So, I mean, I believe that was an emblem, although I think the last time it was an emblem, it was 2 damage. Well, then we have the passive on Ob Nixilis right now, which is 1 damage. So it's not unheard of, it's not that broken. I mean, it is triple black, so good luck putting that in anything other than Devotion. But you know what that means? Black Devotion is going to be a thing. Oh, I guarantee you it is. You don't just print triple cost black cards that honestly didn't have to be that restricted. Okay, this is a Devotion card. Black Devotion, drain away 1 life at a time. That's my shit. I'm building it. And also, we've got Minions Return. Oh, they better not make another one of those movies. So it's a 3-cost enchantment or a flash enchant creature, so that's always fun. It's basically an instant. And whenever an enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. So we literally have this exact card right now, but without flash. I'm pretty sure that's the only difference. Too lazy to check, but neat. Too bad it's not more than 1 Devotion. I do like that though. It's like you're setting up like a volleyball set and then spiking it over the net. Like this sets it up and then you kill it, steal it. Love it. Next up, Heroes of the Revel, a 5-cost 4/4, so good. Anything that costs above 3 in red, I pretty much automatically approve of. I mean, there are limits, but just sick of this red blitz bullshit. So it enters battlefield, and then you create a 1/1 red satyr creature token with this creature can't block. Okay. And then whenever you cast a spell that targets Heroes of the Revel, creatures you control get +1/+1 or +1/+0 until end of turn. Also known as heroic. Like if you're going to put heroic on a card that's literally named Heroes, just print heroic, which makes me think that this is probably the only card with heroic. So this is like what, that Phalanx card? Or I think those were counters. I don't remember, but people play that, but then again, that costs like 2 or something. So, yeah, I don't know. Who plays red anyway? Who cares? Next up, Furious Rise, 3-cost enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, so anti-red rush, good. But yeah, whenever you go to your end step, blah, 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 creature 4, power greater, cool. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until you exile another card. So during your end step, during your opponent's next turn, and up until your next end step during your next turn. Unless your creature with power 4 or greater gets destroyed, then you can cast it sort of forever-ish. Well, until another one enters battlefield, but that's kind of cool. Next up, Dream Stalker Manticore. It's a 3-cost enchantment creature. Everybody knows that was coming. 4/2, unfortunately doesn't have Bestow. That's on my shopping list too. Gotta have that. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, okay, that's neat. Dream Stalker Manticore deals 1 damage to any target. So what, defensive first strike instance? Is that what they're going for? I don't know. I can't imagine what that would be. Like that, I get addendum. Don't really get the exact opposite of addendum though, which is what this is. And then we've got Dream Shaper Shaman, another enchantment creature, and it's a Minotaur Shaman because Minotaurs are just the greatest thing ever. Just ask M13 or RTR, Gatecrash, I don't remember. What was the really broken one? Yeah, Boros. Okay. Anyway, 5/4 for 6. And at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 3 and sacrifice a non-land permanent. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land permanent card. Yeah, that's what it said. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Well, it costs 6, so that's a cool effect, but it costs 6. Oh, and it's blind luck, so, you know, whatever. Next up, Hydras Growth. It's an aura and enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on enchanted creature, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of 1/1 counters on enchanted creature. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. 1, not legendary. 2, no restrictions on size or color. 3, should probably cost 6, not 3. This is so completely, unbelievably overpowered. The only thing restricting it is that you either have to drop it onto something that already had a ton of counters, which you're probably already winning with, or you gotta wait for like the 1, 2, 4, 8, thing, which is what, like 4 or 5 turns? With Proliferate, wow. I mean, Hero of Lane, a tower, and other cards that were like doublers, they were one-shotters. I mean, they had this back when Theros was around the first time. But, boy, none of them were quite this simplistic. So, I mean, yeah, you're putting all of your eggs in one basket with this, but this just should not cost 3. I'd even feel better if it cost 4, but 3 is just ridiculous. If you mix this with Simic and you got it backed up with counterspells, that's it. That's the end of it. So yeah, that card is completely and utterly f***ed. Next up, Wolf Willow Haven. It's a 2-cost aura enchant land. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional specifically 1 green to the mana pool. And if you pay 5, sacrifice Wolf Willow Haven and create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Activate this only during your turn. That's kind of neat. Interesting, very narrow ramp card that's very specific and green locked in a set that promotes devotion. And next up for green, we've got a Chain Web Arachneer. I wonder if it'll be a spider with reach. Oh, look, it's a 1/2 spider for 1 with reach. It enters battlefield, then it deals damage equal to its power to target creature, 1, by the way, with flying an opponent controls. So that's garbage. And then Escape. Okay, so we finally see a mechanic here besides devotion and pseudo-heroic. So you pay 5, exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its escape cost. Oh god, that's basically just Delve, which is really broken and degenerate. But I will say, I mean, escape might be a little bit more fair because this has to somehow make it into your graveyard first. So self-mill, cool, but with Delve, you had to have it in your hand, which in my opinion was easier to control and a little bit, easier to do. So I think what happens is you get it killed and it comes back bigger. It's kind of like Monstrous direct from the graveyard. They might restrict that ability just to creatures. I think they're referencing escaping from the Underworld, so you probably wouldn't see like an enchantment or an artifact with escape, but who knows? You can tell I didn't look ahead because maybe the very next picture has that. I don't know. But, I mean, I guess that's kind of neat. I don't usually like anything to do with the graveyard. I say if it goes in the graveyard, leave it there. I mean, if you want to count the creatures and do something based on that, whatever, but bringing stuff back, I'm just not a big fan of that, which it's literally Theros Beyond Death and it's about escaping from the Underworld, but too bad. Oh, and by the way, it escapes with 3 1/1 counters on it, so it would be a 4/5 if you bring it back for 5 plus also exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. So that is pretty steep, but keep in mind this is an uncommon. Next up, Warden of the Chained. It's a 4/4 for 3 with Trample, so that's going into Gruul deck. And Warden of the Chained can't attack unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater. That is pretty restrictive, but I think you could run 1 or 2 in a Gruul deck. I think it would probably benefit from that. Doesn't have Natural Riot or anything, though, or any kind of hexproof, but whatever. Next up, Hero of the Nyxborn. It's a 3-cost 2/2 human soldier, and it's an enchantment creature. Which means it has 2 weaknesses, by the way. It's for blowing up purposes. When it enters battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Whenever you cast a spell that targets hero... So, heroic! Just write heroic! This is heroic! Oh my god. So, whenever you cast a spell that targets Hero of the Nyxborn, creatures you control get +1/+0 till end of turn. Neat. So, are they saying screw Selesnya? We're actually going to make the Overflow Flood deck be... white-red right now, because that's actually a deck that people play right now, and it also has Night Synergy. So that'll be a big upgrade. That's another one I would watch for an investment. I think those cards might go up significantly, because this looks pretty damn good. I mean, if you can take a +3/+2 spell, drop it on him, +1 everybody in swing, and then still have ambushes left, ooh, watch out. Next up, Wizard still seems to think that people aren't confused by and completely sick of vehicles, because here's Thundering Chariot. Oh boy. First strike, trample, haste, 3/3, crew 1. Wow, that's not good. Next up, I'm going to have to pull a Max Mofo here, so you might want to just take your headphones clear off. You'll probably still hear it. What the fuck are those? What are those? Those are really pretty, and I need them in my life. How many, you might ask? All of them. The entire world supply. Hand them over, nobody gets hurt. I'm taking them all. There's going to be none left over for you guys. I'm just filing the paperwork right now to take a second mortgage on my house. So these are guaranteed money. And fun fact here, they don't say promo anywhere on the bottom, and they are not above the limit. In fact, the forest is specifically number 254 out of 254, strongly suggesting that these will be in boosters. But I don't know. Usually, if you're going to get normal lands and then, normal cards, any normal art, and then alternate art, the alternate will be a higher number above 254. These aren't. So we might actually see these in every single pack. That's my theory, and that's what the numbers seem to indicate. So this has got to be, I mean, I hate to even throw out a number, but 25 cents a card, which would be insane. That's like hitting a bulk rare and then hitting another bulk rare. You're like doubling the cost of a low-end pack, or value, or return, EV, whatever. Probably not literally cost. And then a foil, I mean, $20-$30. I could tell you that right now. So these are in the collector boosters. Wow. I mean, I think people still want unhinged lands a little bit more, and I think those are still like $4 to $7 or something like that. Maybe more. BFZ and OGW full arts are still, I think, 21 cents a piece or 18 cents a piece, something like that. Depends how many you buy at a time. But these are just absolutely crazy. There's supposed to be like enchanted constellations in the sky, which really ties into the lore. The art's crazy. They're extended art, but not truly borderless. And I think in the collector's booster, they might even have borderless versions of this. Who knows? But damn, I want these. Next up, we got Chicken of the Sea. Oh, sorry, that looked like something you'd put on a tuna can. No, it's Omen of the Sea. Part of a cycle, apparently. But whoever got a hold of, I guess, probably some sealed packs from the look of this. Because if you look at everything that they pulled, this seems like packs as far as rarity, colors, and all that. So we have 3 Omens total, but we don't know the other 2, which means this wasn't like a sheet theft. I think somebody got their hands on a booster that wasn't supposed to, or Wizards sent it to someone, or I don't know what the hell happened. I mean, I'll either feel bad for Wizards, or I'll tell them to get their shit together and stop sending these packs to anybody, depending upon what this turns out to be, if they'll even admit it, which they never comment on these. So guess we'll never know. But regardless, even if this is completely out of the control and this was stolen directly from the printing facility, I still think they should keep tighter controls on their intellectual property, because they have carelessly leaked stuff before by like sending people decks, like physical paper decks, like a month ahead of time to some like bullshit magazine or something. You know, without taking like a permanent carbon ink stamp and stamping every single card with, "We sent this to Kotaku." Boom! Good luck leaking those now. And that's just an example. I don't mean to imply that Kotaku ever leaked anything. So anyway, Chicken of the Sea here has 2 cost flash, cool, and it's an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2, then draw a card. That's fantastic. And then pay 3, sacrifice it, and scry 2 again. Fantastic card. Unfortunately, it goes into control colors, so people are just going to do stupid, degenerate shit with this. It's going to help them find their combo, enable their Teferi lockdown in their prison deck, and yeah, screw this absolute disgrace of a card. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with the card, but there is a lot of something's wrong with the decks it's going to go in. So next up, Omen of the Dead. It's a 1-cost flashable black enchantment. It enters battlefield, then return target creature card from your graveyard directly to your hand. That's pretty good for 1 mana. And then if you pay 2, sacrifice Omen of the Dead and scry 2. Okay, that's really good. Then Omen of the Hunt, which of course costs 3 because this is green. 3 basically is 1. And flash, obviously. And when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library, and then you can pay 3, sack it, and scry 2. I'm seeing a pattern here. This one, honestly, for 3... not very good. It's a basic land. I mean, there's better alternatives. This is just bad. Next up, Elysian Carioted. It's a 2-cost 1/1 plant. Obviously, I'll just start it right now. This is Groot. There. We're going to call this card Groot. Are we all in favor? Everybody say aye. Yep, the ayes have it. Okay, this is Groot. Got it. Moving on to our next motion, you can tap it and add 1 mana of any color. Fantastic. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, add 2 mana of any 1 color instead. Ooh, and this is a common. This is pretty tasty. This is like an improved Leafkin. I really like this. One of my favorite, I'll say, super archetype mechanics, because it's not a mechanic, it's more of a higher level than that, is a card that does something cool, and then late in the game, it does something bigger and badder. I like Overload, I like Strive, I like Monstrous. Adapt, I mean, you name it. If you make me pay more or do more or put just some kind of late game only restriction on it, like gotta have 7 cards in your graveyard, you take a card and you're like, on turn 1, 2, or 3, you could play it and it's good. And on turn 37, you could play it and it's good. That gets rid of that whole, I pulled a card off the top of my library. It's too weak and it's not what I needed. I pulled it out of order. Crap. It's like, no, okay, this is, normally weak, but I qualify for the second little category here. Let's go. I love that. I absolutely love that. And finally, we have got 255 out of 250 for the first alternate art, Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis. Oh boy. She used to be all praise the sun, but then she died and got super emo. So now apparently she is the sun's nemesis, trying to probably cause darkness across the land because wizards love stupid cliches that they steal from everything else. And thank Heliod she costs 4 mana instead of 3 because I am way past done with 3 cost planeswalkers at this point. And she comes out with 5 loyalty though, so watch out for that. But she only has negatives. Yes. I have a feeling they're really powerful though. I haven't read them yet. So -1, up to 2 target creatures you control each get +2/+1 till end of turn. I mean, that's pretty good. You do that 5 times. Yeah, that's a good way to burn her out. I mean, that's quite good. -2, create 2 white human soldier creature tokens. I mean, yeah, normally it's a 3 mana spell, so like whatever, but that's -2. So, bodyguards, whatever. And then -3, you gain 5 life. That's got to be emergency only right there. But wait, Houdini here has Escape. Escape 6. Exile 4 other cards from your graveyard and pay 6, and then you just straight up drop this back into play. No limit either. You don't, like, the next time it dies, exile it, which is the normal way that you would, like, do that with, like, Whip of Erebos and a bunch of other stuff. Nope. I mean, you got 4 cards in your graveyard and you got 6 mana. You could loop her over and over and over and over and over. So I actually think this is pretty good, pretty appropriate. I don't know if I'd really even immediately drop her into like my Candy Cane or my mono white life gain deck or my like a Johnny's Primate white black hybrid deck. I don't think she's quite on curve for that, believe it or not. But mono white angels with divine visitation with like a 1/1, bodyguard dump. Oh yes. Oh, I'll tell you right now, she's going in that. Probably a 3 of minimum in that deck. So if that mono white deck with an angel back end and life gain and all those triggers and then Johnny's Primate on the ground, not to mention the double striker and a Johnny's other friend, if that becomes a big deck, so I would maybe invest in some divines because that card's crazy. Every time you would create a token, create a 4/4 angel instead. Yeah, kind of goes with this, little bit. So honestly, yeah, Escape seems appropriately restrictive. It's a little bit of a late game extra bonus thing, which you guys know I like. Elspeth isn't too overpowered, has no plus whatsoever, and Proliferate, good luck. Really, there's only, 3 cards that are just an absolute atrocity and crime against humanity, so that's low for them. That said, that Red Saga, wow, that's messed up. That is just, they're probably going to have to ban that. But the rest of this looks pretty damn fun. I mean, I'm looking at a lot of cards. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, I want to put that in something. And there's very little feeling of, well, that's going to ruin Standard. But that's what Throne of Eldraine looked like until, the 9th day of spoilers. So, yeah, at least we get pretty lands. So for all of you who've given up on Standard, at least you get pretty lands. Also, if you're a store, considering just those lands, I have a very strong feeling we're going to have a repeat of BFZ. I believe the fat packs or the bundles were changed to, 2020 lately? Or I think it was already announced that there's 2020 split, but I thought some were foil. I don't know. It's not 80. It's not an 80 card land pack anymore, but it's still a lot. So I have a feeling the bundles are going to be a pretty hot object. And if those lands add what I think they add, which is at least 25 cents to the value of a booster, it almost doesn't even matter what the rest of the set is like, and it already looks like people are going to play stuff from it. I would call up the distributor and say, hey, our normal order, up it by 25%, because I think just on the weight of those basic lands alone, this set is going to make a huge amount of money. That's my theory. Maybe the lands are only available in collector's boosters, though. I kind of doubt it based on their number, but just saying. It looks like if we were to jump on this early and say, no, send us more than everybody else. I got my order in first. It's October 30th. Do what I say. Don't offer for Rudy to pay $5 more and send him to him instead. He's an asshole. I believe it was Southern Hobby that pulled that bullshit. That is something they would do. They are, real shady. I've heard some real quality things about them. But yeah, if you're at a respectable one like ACD, just tell them, hey, I'd like to, order more than normal based on just a feeling and definitely not advanced information. And everybody knows the early bird gets the worm. So first in usually is the one who gets the products. Unless they sell them to Rudy after he agrees to pay more, which is shady as fuck. Screw you, Rudy, you asshole. So what do you guys think of all this stuff so far? I'm pretty amped. Not that amped though, because it's 5:47 in the morning and I still have to edit this. So I'm probably calling in sick tomorrow. Hell, I'm sending the email right now. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video. I think the sun is going to come up very shortly.